What up, everybody? It's Jay Coffee Talk. Thank you for tuning into my channel. All new viewers, please hit the subscribe button, the bell, all that good stuff. But let's talk about this post. Uh, Eric Holder, who's charged with killing the late, great Nipsey Hussle, who, it just hit a year since his passing. And it's just wild, man. Everyone, even if you're not a fan of hip hop, you gotta respect Nipsey Hussle. He was a brilliant dude. He did a lot of good, and just the movement, what he was doing was something special, because he was trying to take. A lot of times in the hip hop community, people, say, "Hey, these guys are pushing, the message they're pushing isn't good. They're leading people down a wrong path. They're glorifying the wrong things and stuff like that." Nipsey Hussle was very business minded. You know what I mean? And he was trying to take his movement, move it to the next level, do things with business, like put people on and teach them, you know, um, how to monetize your talents and how to, be business minded like he was, because, there's a lot of things out there, whatever you're doing, whether you're selling cars, whether, I don't know, whatever business you're in, when it comes to different stuff like credit and loans and just different things like that, education, learning how to monetize your talents and such, um, is everything. You know what I mean? And Nipsey Hussle was trying to take it to the next level, because and teach others how to do the same. Now, something that gets discussed all the time, or that I heard discussed, and it was kind of like what Nipsey was trying to do. Let's talk about, just for instance, the Hell's Angels, okay? And we saw this on the Killer Mike Netflix documentary. He's another rapper and everything, and I don't know if a lot of people saw. Like I said, you don't have to be a fan of hip hop to necessarily take an interest in this, But the Hell's Angels and biker gang, okay? They've corporatized their stuff, and made money selling clothing and just other things like that, right? So Nipsey Hussle was trying to do the same thing with his movement. And that's the thing, is growth and development is so important. You know what I mean? So people who may have been dealt a rough hand and were in the streets, it's only makes sense to move that to the next level. You know what I mean? So the next generations don't have to be doing dirt and putting their life on the line in the streets or possibly going to prison. You know what I mean? Like, to turn things into a legitimate business. Okay. Now we know Nip was killed. And real quick before I go any further, I just want to say I never really entertained. Listen, there's a lot of conspiracies out there that are real, but I personally don't think Nipsey Hussle's killing was any kind of conspiracy. A lot of people believe so. I never looked at it that way, okay? Because a lot of people were trying to take and run with the fact, there was people saying Eric Holder, the guy who killed Nipsey Hussle, Nip didn't know him. People didn't know him. Where did this guy come from? He was a plant. And all the dudes from Nipsey Hussle's All Money In movement did interviews and such, and most of them chose not to speak on him. But one of them, I believe it was Boss Hogg, I can't remember which dude it was, when he did his No Jumper interview, said, no, we did know Nip. Okay, we did know Nipsey. And you know what I mean? The other guys just didn't want to talk about him or give him no shine because of what he did. But Boss Hogg did say we did know Nipsey Hussle. Okay, he was from our neighborhood. His name was always good. Then one day it wasn't. You know, there was some things were allegations against him. He disappeared for a while, and he came back. And right when we heard he came back is when he showed up at the Marathon store, and what happened happened. Um, but anyways, let's look at this post that's come up here. This is Choke No Joke, who has put out a lot of YouTube content. You know, he worked with Dame Dash, Rockefeller, and everything, and he's talked about gatekeepers in the industry and agendas and things like that. He's talked about some real interesting stuff. But he put this post up here um, regarding the Eric Holder murder trial, and he's basically saying that he feels Nipsey Hussle, killer here, Eric Holder, could walk. Okay, he's saying that there's talk that the video footage may be thrown out of court. Okay, now I haven't seen anything on that for sure, and I personally don't feel like that is going to happen. But he goes on to talk about how there's not a murder weapon. He goes on to talk about how if the footage is thrown out of court, you know, if the motions do go through and the video footage is thrown out of court, how will they convict Eric Holder for killing Nipsey? Because any witnesses that there are not going to talk because of gang ties and things like that. And I don't know. I don't know what exact grounds they're trying to argue for the video footage to be thrown out. But you know, when it comes to court, when it comes to murder trials, which they were saying they want to have this trial going by April, um, motions, different legal strategies play out big in court. Okay, that's how we saw R. Kelly walk in his trial back in the day. The victims didn't want to. The victims didn't want to cooperate when it came time for trial. The video was thrown out of tape, or I'm sorry, the video footage was thrown out, the tape was thrown out, and he walked. Okay, now I don't know, man. I don't think he's gonna walk. You guys, let me know what you guys think. Like I said, look at this on the grounds of the court system, the legal process. Okay, but he's shared this, and right here he's pointing out, what does it say here? I believe Eric Holder will walk. Here's why. The theory that he killed him over being called a snitch is throwing out the window when you look at Eric Holder's grand jury trial statement about that. He said no. He said no, that's not true. Then Cowboy says on camera there was no beef or nothing before the incident. Um, Eric Holder is the accused killer. I don't believe that he would admit if he was a snitch or not. Okay, but he also shares this page here, who took Nipsey from us. And it says, covering the truth behind the assassination of the legend Nipsey Hussle. And this is the first I'm seeing of this page here. But I just wanted to go over some of these posts here. You see this one? It doesn't make sense that somebody from the area that just snuck up and just talked to him and shook his hand minutes before Black Sam said it's mind-boggling. Here's Eric Holder. Nipsey was a king. It says, let's just, you know, this Choke No Joke tagged this page here. So let's look at what this page is pushing. I don't want to see that video. That's another thing too. For all those who follow my channel knows I've covered a lot of hip hop content on this channel. When Nipsey Hussle was killed, I never ever shared that footage. I thought it was in poor taste. I thought, you know what I mean? If one of my peoples was killed, I mean, I get it. People are going to watch the tape. Understandable. But I wouldn't want that to just be shown over and over again. You know what I mean? But, you know, there's a lot of videos on here that I'm not going to play, obviously, because of getting the page, this video flagged. But I just want to see what narrative they're running with this here. It's like, look, snitch killed Nip, government is involved. So you never see Brother Polite paranoid to talk about any subject like he was like he was on this one, but salute to him nonetheless for being the only one to publicly acknowledge the logic to this situation. We love cracking cases while watching Law and Order, CSI, murder mysteries, shows, movies, etc. The media isn't covering anything over the last year. Over the past year, Nipsey was a mogul, king, and simply put, a millionaire in America. No other case in history has been this sealed, nor has had a gag order on the industry like this one. We knew everything about cases like Amber Geiger case as soon as it happened. If we as a collective culture demanded more information, we would have gotten more evidence around this case. Imagine powerful voices demanding more answers over the last year. Um, I don't know. Sounds like they're pushing that the government was involved in this. Now, I definitely see where someone could push that narrative, but I just don't see it that way. I don't see that this was a conspiracy. You know, um, it says here they testified 11 to 12 gunshots were let off here, at least 10 to Nipsey Hussle, one to Kerry Lathan, and another that ricocheted off the third guy's belt buckle. Since they don't have any evidence, such as a murder weapon, DNA, shell casings, or have not provided a clear photo or video, I pose this question. We know that we see no blood at all on his body, but does anyone see blood at the crime scene that would consist of two men getting shot at close range? I know no one's touching this story in fear for of their life, but something's got to give. Ain't no answers to these trick questions. Let's see what they're talking about in the comments here. What did Waka say? Loudest amen. It's isn't gonna risk his life either on this either. Understandable. I mean, I don't know, guys. Just get in the comments. I'm just kind of going over this stuff and want to see what all you guys feel about this. Let's see here. The mystery murder of Nipsey Hussle. All month, media outlets like Revolt and Breakfast Club have been promoting the BBC documentary The Mystery's Death of Nipsey Hussle. They the part they didn't tell you is that you must live in the UK in order to watch it. These are the games they play. All due respect, in London. I don't know. In the fact that they're being very quiet about things doesn't necessarily mean to me that there's no evidence. Okay, an example I want to give. What's that? Gannon Stauch. Letitia Stauch. This woman, as we know now, is charged, and there's a lot of evidence. They're not releasing any of the evidence. How do we know that there's a lot of evidence, even though they're not releasing it for fear of tainting the case? Because they were able to locate his remains in Florida. Okay, they like how did they get to the bottom and crack that mystery? They had looked everywhere for him. They called off the search. They got information. They got evidence. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not the same case. People are probably going to get in the comments and say it's not the same thing. No, it's not. But I'm just the idea of what I'm pointing out here is just because not everything's getting leaked to the media or shared with the media doesn't mean that there's no evidence. Um, I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to have to wait and see what happens when it comes to Nipsey Hussle's trial to see what they're working with. Okay, but I don't know. The fact that things are quiet doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna walk or they don't have evidence. We don't know. Someone could be talking already. The court game is crazy. But something else that I wanted to point out is that we've seen things being implemented like because of the crisis that's going on in America right now, that courts, as far as like your right to a fair trial, speedy trial, when time is being charged to the people, anyone who's been involved in court before knows what I'm talking about as far as the guidelines and width and time constraints when prosecuting someone. I've seen things stating that this can be put on hold. You know what I mean? That can be out the window with what's going on in America right now. So this could affect this Eric Holder case. Do you know what I mean? This could affect it in the sense that it could be postponed. So I don't know. It's just something to think about. But like I said, Choke No Joke just threw this post up, and he's saying he thinks he'll walk. And this guy's saying he's a Mason. That's all you need to know. Them pictures with Lauren London tells me all I need to know. So if I post Nip, it won't have her in it. Masons be around way before rap music. I'm from Queens. Majority of the men in my family have been Prince Hall chapter of Masons. I don't know. Like I said, I don't see conspiracy in this, and so I'm not gonna, read all these comments here. With that's what. So look, someone's saying there also were words exchanged because Nip called him a snitch. Who can testify to that? Did you read anything I wrote? Look at the testimony on my page or video. Were you there and heard that? I believe that part was witnessed by people, but not only that. Eric girl ain't charged with ish. What team you think she on? You think the DA ain't threatened her with time? She already gave the details after the ish happened with dude. Told about how he was acting after she dropped him off around the building, etc. I think she mentioned the gun also. So, what's this person's name? Monty G. A. Escobar, I believe, is how you say his Instagram handle here. I like what he's saying here. Okay, I I lean to something like this over a conspiracy. Okay, just because false narratives do get put out there. Okay, regarding the snitch thing. Yeah, a lot of people say, well, who can testify to that? How do we know that really happened? Were you there? Were we there? Was he there? Who was there? It could be false, but I'm led to believe that it is true. As I stated, BH Boss Hogg, I believe, was the one who did the podcast and said Eric Holder was from our hood. We did know him. We didn't really rock with him, as people know that's a big hood. Okay, one of the biggest in LA, I believe. I'm not from LA, but from what I've heard, that turf is one of the biggest. Am I wrong? Anyone who agrees, disagree, get in the comments. Let me know. But he said they knew him. They didn't really rock with him. Not a beef. They just knew him. But he was always known to be a solid, reputable guy. Then his name got tarnished and things started coming out. And when I say that his name got tarnished, meant people were saying he told, or he was a snitch or an informant or something like that. And then he disappeared. He left. He left. Okay. This is coming from BH, Boss Hogg, you know? And it's saying this, you put it all together, you do the math, it makes sense to me. And then when he came back, shortly after he ended up at the Marathon store, and what happened. And yeah, I believe that too. She's not charged. What team do you think she's playing for? Obviously, right? She's testifying. So I'm not rocking with all this conspiracy stuff and this Nipsey Hussle death. I'm not trying to disrespect anyone who is, if that's the theory you have. I don't, that's cool. People, I always say I can agree to disagree with people, but I do not think Eric is, like, look what he said here. No, I wasn't there, but they got her testimony. And in a high profile case like this, Eric is in a lose-lose situation. If convicted, he's done. If he beats it in the streets, kill him. Eric's girl is the star witness. And I'm just a Midwest cat, but from what I heard and I believe is they already killed 3 to 4 of Eric's relatives. Not to sound silly, but watching All American, when the character that played Pac got into beef and learns Lorenz Tate brother had beef, first they did was move their family out of town. And we heard this too. This was publicized, that Eric Holder's family paid for his actions. They caught up with some of the members of his family after what happened. That's what I believe. I don't believe in the conspiracy thing, and I don't believe Eric Holder is walking for a second. The defense have put in BS motions trying to get things dismissed. It ain't happening. I think they got this case sealed up lined up neatly. They got all their ducks in a row, so to speak, however you want to call it. Everything's lined up nice. They get to court. It's going to be an open and shut case. For all we know, maybe Eric Holder will cop a plea at the last minute and decide not to go to trial. But I don't see this for a second. I think Choke No Joke's wrong. And I don't believe no conspiracies here. So get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on this situation. For anyone who's new to the channel, that's what this platform is all about. It's hearing from the people. It's Jay Coffee Talk. Thank you guys for watching. Cover a lot of different topics on this channel. So let's get this discussion going in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. It's Jay Coffee Talk. I'm going to have some more content up for you guys later. We're all quarantined or whatever. We're all in the house. Let's pass the time. Let's have some good conversation. Let's chop it up. Sub to the channel. Hit the bell. I'm out of here. Peace.